This is the AHSAA Weekly, your inside look at everything happening with the Alabama High School Athletic Association, presented by America's First Federal Credit Union. I'm John Holder. Coming up on this week's program, we will visit with the head wrestling coach at Vestavia Hills High School, Montarius T. Adams. We will stay in Jefferson County as we will visit with Tanya Hunter. She is the head girls basketball coach at Hewitt-Trussville High School. And a special treat for you this week, we will visit with an All-American in college at Florida State University in the sport of track, but he was also an All-American in high school at Winfield High School. We're talking about Trey Cunningham. And we'll have David Holzford's highlights as we go back to the 52nd AHSAA State Indoor Track and Field Championships from this past weekend at the Birmingham Crossplex. All of that and more on this week's edition of the AHSAA Weekly, presented by America's First Federal Credit Union.
Every bank has their own app, but it's just that, theirs, not yours. At AmFirst, our app was made for you. So it's easy to pay bills, deposit checks, or transfer money to friends and family from anywhere. It's even customizable, which means you can personalize your dashboard, create usage alerts, and redeem points for rewards you'll love. And you can do it all on your own time. So what are you waiting for? Get the app made for you at AmFirst.
What's your favorite high school sports memory? A late inning rally? A game-winning shot? A photo finish? Maybe it's a pep rally or a pregame ritual. Maybe it's the euphoria of a late-night bus ride home after a hard-fought win. Maybe it's having pizza with teammates after the game. Now, imagine if it never happened at all. School sports need your help. With budgets getting tighter, it's more than the games that are on the line. It's all the traditions, the community pride, the culture of your hometown high school. Plus, all those memories that are on the line, too. What can you do? It's simple. Buy a ticket when you can. Go to a game. Take the whole family. Let's do everything we can to keep those cherished school sports memories alive.
This message presented by the Alabama High School Athletic Association and the Alabama High School Athletic Directors and Coaches Association.
We are back now on the AHSAA Weekly, and we are going to talk some high school wrestling right now. The North Super Sectional is coming up this week, the state tournament next week, and we are going to talk with the head coach of one of the most successful, maybe the most successful wrestling program in state history. We're talking about the Vestavia Hills Rebels, and their head wrestling coach, Montarius T. Adams, is with us. Coach Adams, glad to have you with us this week on the AHSAA Weekly.
Thanks for having me.
Coach Adams, obviously Vestavia Hills, a team that's won 16 state titles. You've won a couple of those as a head coach in the going back over all these years, all the way back to into the 60s. Vestavia Hills has been kind of the bell cow when it comes to high school wrestling in the state of Alabama. The expectations at Vestavia are pretty high. Tell us about that.
Again, I took over for a legendary coach and try not to mess it up, and Steve Gaydosh. And yes, I mean, we believe here expectations are high. We accept those challenges. The guys in the past have laid the foundation for us, and we're just trying to keep it going.
You mentioned Coach Steve Gaydosh, and you wrestled for him, I believe. He won 12 state titles. Tell us about his influence on you and what you take from him and being the coach today at Vestavia. I ran into Steve Gaydosh actually in 7th grade football. He was my 7th grade head football coach. And like many guys, he talked us into coming out in 7th grade. And he had a profound influence in my life in the wrestling world. He got me started in it. Won a couple state titles for him. And he gave me his blessing to come back and be the coach here. Coach Adams, was this something going back to your days in high school at Vestavia Hills and wrestling then? Did you want to be a coach, or how did that come about? How did that evolve?
If I was in high school, if you'd asked me if I'd been a teacher or coach, I would have told you no. But as I got in college and, wrestled in college, and I started tutoring on the side, and a lot of people say I had a knack for it. So I got involved, and here we are today.
Coach, you won state championship again last year, and now you are back in the thick of things, competing for another state championship. Tell us about this year's team. What's it going to take to bring another state title back to Vestavia Hills?
Yeah, we're in the thick of things, but it's going to take everybody. It's going to take all 14 kids getting the job done and just going out and just compete at a high level. We graduated 4 seniors from last year, and so their job and what they did last year is hard to replace. But we got some newcomers in the lineup that we believe can do well for us.
Coach, you mentioned the importance of seniors on the team, losing 4 key seniors from last year. Tell us about the leadership on this year's team. I would imagine senior leadership, as it is in all sports, wrestling no different, is a big key to success. Yes,
sir. And we got 2 seniors. So we got 4 returning senior starters, all state place winners from the year before. So they bring experience to this team. That's kind of a young team. So, those guys are leading right now by example, pushing the younger guys in the room. Like I said, 2 returning state champs and 2 returning place winners as well. Coach Adams, you have seen this yourself personally, going back to your playing days and now as a coach, wrestling really growing here in the state of Alabama and in the South for that matter. That brings some good and bad, I guess. The good part is there's more emphasis on wrestling, but it also brings stronger competition as well. Tell us about the growth of wrestling in Alabama. It's grown tremendously over the last years. Even so, when I wrestled in the late '90s, early 2000s. So it's with more schools getting involved. Like I said, competition levels are up. So I love it for our sport. Here in Alabama. So it's going to continue to grow, and I know it's grown again. So we got new regions that'll be drawn. I know here at the end of April probably. So it's a plus for our state to keep seeing more schools get involved in wrestling, keep giving more kids opportunities to do something. Coach, thank you for your time. Best wishes to you and your team as you move through the super sectionals and into the state championships. We'll be watching your team closely throughout the rest of this 2022 wrestling season. Thank you for joining us here on the AHSAA Weekly. Thank you. Coach T. Adams, head wrestling coach at Vestavia Hills High School, this week on the AHSAA Weekly.
The perfect checking account doesn't exist. Not at a bank, that is. So why do you keep looking there? At AmFirst, you can get no minimum balance or monthly fees, an instant issue debit card, and free checks with unlimited check writing. But who doesn't want more? Like a rewards program you'll actually use, and convenient digital tools that make it easy to manage your account from anywhere. Now you could try and find that at a bank, or you could save yourself the trouble by checking with us.
What's your favorite high school sports memory? A late inning rally? A game-winning shot? A photo finish? Maybe it's a pep rally or a pregame ritual. Maybe it's the euphoria of a late-night bus ride home after a hard-fought win. Maybe it's having pizza with teammates after the game. Now, imagine if it never happened at all. School sports need your help. With budgets getting tighter, it's more than the games that are on the line. It's all the traditions, the community pride, the culture of your hometown high school. Plus, all those memories that are on the line, too. What can you do? It's simple. Buy a ticket when you can. Go to a game. Take the whole family. Let's do everything we can to keep those cherished school sports memories alive.
This message presented by the Alabama High School Athletic Association and the Alabama High School Athletic Directors and Coaches Association.
This is the AHSAA Weekly, and we're spending time now with the head girls basketball coach at Hewitt-Trussville High School in Metro Birmingham in Jefferson County. It's Tanya Hunter. Coach Hunter, glad to have you with us this week as our guest on the AHSAA Weekly.
Thank you for having me, John.
Hewitt-Trussville has been to 2 of the last 3 7A state title games in girls basketball. When you came out to Hewitt-Trussville, did you feel like that this could happen this quickly out at Trussville?
Well, when I was living here in Trussville before I took the job, when I was at Shays Valley, and I came to be on the same schedule with my kids. So that the job came open, and we were coming here just to start a program. And we have had so much resources, and kids have jumped on and on the bandwagon, and we've been taking off ever since.
Coach, you mentioned the success you had at Shays Valley, won a state title there in 2014, so you know what it takes to win at the highest level and to build a program. Also, you teamed up with Taylor Burth this year, and won a state championship for the first time ever in girls flag football that we saw here on WOTM down at Protective Stadium during the Super 7. What are the keys in your mind, whether it be girls basketball, flag football, whatever the sport is, just from a coaching standpoint, what's the key in building a championship program?
Well, I consider myself as a player's coach. I try to develop a relationship with all kids and find out about each kid and try to get the best out of each kid, no matter what sport it is. And so far, being here at Hewitt-Trussville, these kids that on the girls' side that I've coached, they've been a big want to be their best and to be the best version of themselves. And I got to say, here at Hewitt-Trussville, with flag football this year and with girls basketball, that those girls have done a great job of trying to be the best version of themselves.
You not only are a state championship coach, but I understand you were a state championship player as well in your high school days down at Eufaula. Tell us about maybe some influences. Was that state championship at Eufaula, is that something that kind of propelled you to wanting to get into coaching?
That state championship actually, prior when Michael Smith came in, that's coaching the boys now. Once he started coaching us, he was right out of college, he was young. Ever since I've been around him, I knew as a sophomore in high school that I wanted to coach just because of him. What I experienced in high school athletics wanted me to have a chance to allow other kids to do the same thing that I experienced. All the success, all the adversity, it just makes make you a better person in the real world. And Coach Smith taught us that when we were at Eufaula High. He got the best out of us. He made us champions, and I just wanted to do the same thing he did for me and my teammates for other kids.
Coach, this week, of course, is area tournament time for both boys and girls. Very important time. You play in Class 7A Area 8, which is very competitive. So competitive, it came down to a coin toss to see who would actually host the area tournament. And I would imagine in that area, hosting is a big deal, right?
Yeah, it's a big deal. In this area that I've been in, it has been one of the hardest areas. And I know everybody say that, but for girls basketball, you got state championship coaches throughout with Jeremy Brooks from Gaston City, Mike Chase from Spain Park, and Coach Meltzer from Vestavia. They're all really good coaches. So in January, you have to come prepared and have your kids playing the best because you're just trying to set yourself up for a good seed in the area tournament. And then you get to the area tournament and it's like 0-0, really 0-0. Anybody can go. And most of the time, whoever makes it out is usually in a state championship game. So it's really hard work. It's exciting. It's great basketball for girls basketball. And I'm happy to be here to make me a better coach.
Coach Hunter, thank you so much for spending time with us here on the AHSAA Weekly. Best wishes to you and your girls basketball team at Hewitt-Trussville as you move through the area tournament and further into the state playoffs. Well,
thank you so much, John, for having us.
Coach Tanya Hunter, head girls basketball coach at Hewitt-Trussville High School, our guest this week on the AHSAA Weekly. Back in a moment.
Every bank has their own app, but it's just that, theirs. At AmFirst, our app was made for you, so you can personalize your dashboard, pay your bills, and redeem points for rewards you'll love. Get the app made for you at AmFirst.
Welcome back to the AHSAA Weekly, presented by America's First Federal Credit Union. We have a real treat for you this week. We are going to spend some time with a former high school All-American who is now the #1 athlete at his position, at his sport in the world. And he's from the state of Alabama. We're talking about Trey Cunningham, a native of Winfield and Winfield High School, and now a senior track standout at Florida State University in Tallahassee. Trey, good evening. Glad to have you with us here on the AHSAA Weekly.
Thanks for having me.
Let's just go back to coming from Winfield, obviously a small town in Alabama, Class 3A school, and coming from a place like Winfield to now being #1 in the world in the 600-meter hurdles. Tell us about that, coming from a small town like Winfield.
I mean, it had everything I needed for me to focus on my event. I had a good support system there, And I mean, I got really lucky with the town. They got behind me, the family I was born to. So I was just really blessed to be from there.
Of course, you also had a great coach there as well, Coach Steve Reeves. He just led his team to another state championship this weekend in track at Winfield. Tell us about him and his impact on you.
Coach Reeves helped me in more ways than just athletics. Like, he made me be the person I am today. He was very integrative in that process. I mean, much love to that man. I mean, he's part of the reason I am where I am today. Like, that's, I mean, no words.
We mentioned earlier that you are ranked #1 in the world in the 600-meter hurdles. When somebody like me says that, when they say #1 in the world, what goes through your mind there to know that you're the very best at the top on the entire planet at what you do?
I tell people all the time, it's still kind of surreal that I'm competing at this level. I used to watch these people on TV on the Olympics, at World Championships, but now I'm running with them and proving that I belong here. So I'm just still trying to like envision myself doing this, but it's pretty cool still.
It is pretty cool what you're doing right now. It's pretty cool what you did in high school as well. You set all kinds of state records in high school. I think the fastest time in the 60-meter hurdles in high school, setting a national record there. Looking back and now being a senior, looking back at what all you've accomplished in both high school and college, you ever kind of look back at everything that you've done?
I do sometimes. It's just crazy. Like, so my events are so fast and it happens in seconds. So, I mean, that moment is kind of like fleeting at times, but I mean, when I finish, it's just like, wow, that just happened, because most of the time it's just an out of body experience, or it's kind of just happens.
Trey, you were ranked #1 in the world when COVID came around for the Olympics back in 2020, and that basically did away with the Olympics, canceled that. You had an ankle injury on top of that, and so forth. The Olympics, is that something that still is a goal? Is that still on your radar?
Oh, for sure. I think I got 2 more Olympic cycles in me where I'm going to be young enough to compete, but I think I got it in me for sure.
I understand you come from a family of achievers, going all the way back through your family lineage. Tell us about your family background.
Oh, man. Sports. If you didn't do sports in my family, it was a bit odd. Like, everyone is pretty much a state champion in their respective event, like basketball, baseball, football, cheer, like whatever it was. I mean, it was performance. That's what we did. We performed at our best. I mean, my mom played college basketball. I had an aunt play college basketball. My granddad and his 2 brothers played college football. So, I mean, it's just what we do.
Trey, thank you so much for spending time with us this week out of what I know is a busy schedule. Glad to have you with us here on the AHSAA Weekly. Congratulations on all of your accomplishments. Best wishes in the future to you as well.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Trey Cunningham, an All-American from Winfield, Alabama, now a senior track standout at Florida State University, here with us on the AHSAA Weekly.
Looking for a perfect checking account? Don't waste your time. No minimum balance, no monthly fees, and a convenient app. Now you could try and find that at a bank, or you could save yourself the trouble by checking with us.
Closing out this week's edition of the AHSAA Weekly, presented by America's First Federal Credit Union, we're going to show you highlights from the 52nd Annual Alabama High School Athletic Association State Indoor Track and Field Championships held at Birmingham's fantastic Crossplex Complex, which, by the way, will be hosting the 2022 World Games as well. We want to especially thank Central Phoenix City's NFHS Network School Broadcast Director, Tim Lorman, who served as announcer and executive producer, and his expert camera crew consisting of Central Broadcast student twin sisters Adley and Ansley Burks. The trio produced the entire state championships, which were live streamed over the NFHS network. We will start with the Class 1A through 3A state championships and pick up the action with boys 60-meter dash. Reeltown's Arthur Woods won with a 9.01 time. Cody Holloway of Piedmont was a close second, clocking the distance in 9.21 seconds. Next, we go to the boys 400-meter. Montgomery Catholic junior Jeremiah Cobb, a highly recruited running back prospect in the class of 2023 in football, racing to the 400-meter dash win with a time of 52.23 seconds. Sage Robertson of Westbrook Christian was a close second. On to the 800 meters. Cold Spring sophomore Ethan Edgeworth, the 2021 Class 1A, 2A state cross-country champion, wins his race at the Birmingham Crossplex with a time of 2:01.34, with Alex Kuntz of Elkmont right behind with 2.06.66. Moving to the girls 1A through 3A action, Winfield's Lydia Seals glides over the hurdles to grab the 60-meter hurdles win in 10 seconds flat for the Pirates. Haley Mason from Montgomery Catholic would finish second. Winfield's Phoenix Sandlin won the 60-meter dash state championship, running in 7.05. Montgomery Catholic's Jeremiah Cobb finished second in this race. Sandlin had a major impact for the Pirates, helping Winfield claim the boys 1A through 3A state championship. Mobile Christian won the girls 1A and 3A state crown. Now, boys 60-meter hurdles. Bayside Academy's Patrick Daves wins the 60-meter hurdles in fine form to kick off the Class 4A and 5A state meet on Saturday morning. We see him here running the distance in 8.28 seconds. Runner-up was Lewis Barber of Haleyville, 8.15. Daves would also win the high jump, clearing 6 feet 4 inches. On the girls' side of things, Demopolis High School sprinter Shanidra Richardson seen making a final push to edge Satsuma's Presley Montalvo at the finish line in the 60-meter dash girls competition. Richardson finished in 7.84 seconds. Montalvo clocking 7.85 in this photo finish, showcasing 2 of the AHSAA's great runners. UMS Wright Prep won the Class 4A, 5A boys state championship, the Bulldogs' 16th boys indoor track crown overall. No wonder we see brothers Charles and Joseph Perry from UMS Wright, William Shelton from Parker, and Arthur Langley of John Carroll Catholic all dashing to the finish line in the 800-meter run, looking more like the 400-meter dash. Charles Perry narrowly defeats Parker Shelton by 1/100th of a second with a winning time of 1:57.48 to Shelton's 1:57.49. That is absolutely as close as it can get. And we pick up with the Perry brothers in the 1,600-meter race, with Joseph getting the win over Charles, this time the winning time of 4:28.73. UMS Wright swept the boys and girls Class 4A and 5A state titles, while Bayside Academy captured both runner-up trophies. In the Class 6A state indoor track championships on Friday, all eyes fell on Maddox Ham of Scottsboro in his quest to win the state indoor pole vault record. Not only did he become the first competitor in history of the state indoor meet to clear 16 feet 9 inches for a new benchmark, he cleared 17.6 in the final regular season meet of the season 1 week before. While his 16.9 feet wasn't his personal best, it wrote his name in the AHSAA record book one more time and helped Scottsboro claim the Class 6A boys state title. McGill-Tulin's Brooks Gibson finished second with a clearance of 13.6. Northridge would win the Class 6A girls state championship. Moving on to 7A now. Hoover High School, coached by Chris Schmidt, showed just why the state championship trophy goes to the best team. The Lady Bucks won the 7A state championship by sweeping the 3 relays. We look on Hoover's quartet consisting of Mackenzie Blackledge, Ashley Gerard, Daisy Luna, and Lana Kate Hammonds winning the 4x800 relay with a 9:40.60 time. Vestavia Hills was 2 seconds back at 9:42.87. We move to the final 4x400 meters relay event of the 2022 state meet, with Hoover winning again. It was the tandem of Jabria Chapman, Taylor Canada, Gabrielle Washington, and Mackenzie Blackledge sprinting past Spain Park by 4 seconds to claim first place with a 4.98 time. Hoover would go on to sweep the overall Class 7A state championship in the boys and girls divisions. Vestavia's boys and Hewitt-Trussville's girls finished second, respectively. And we close out the 2022 State Indoor Championship highlight reel with Vestavia Hills High senior Crawford West, the state's top runner, adding 2 more state records to her own highlight reel. We see her here winning the 1,600 meters race with 4.58.68 time, breaking the record she set in 2011 by a second. Ava McIntosh of Huntsville was 10 seconds back with a 5:08.52 time to runner-up. Crawford would also set a record in the 3,200 meter race, finishing in 10:49.83, and closed out her career running a leg in the 4x800 and 4x400 relays for the Rebels. We're going to hear now what the University of Alabama track and cross country signee has to say about her performance at the indoor championships and her thoughts concerning the upcoming outdoor season following her performance on Saturday.
I think the meet's gone pretty well for, how my training's been. I've been injured this whole indoor season. I have IT band syndrome in both my legs, so that kind of sucks, not being able to train as much. So unfortunately I had to hold out the 800 today, which isn't really something I wanted to do because, I had the repeat last year and I didn't get to do that this year, but we just thought it would be best for, my health and everything. So I just stayed with, the mile and the 4x8 and the 2 mile, and I just wanted to maximize our team's points. And I'm pretty happy with how I did today. Obviously I'd like to run faster, but given the circumstances I am, I'm not too upset about it. Just have fun mostly since my last season. Definitely PR. So I'd like to get the 2 mile state record and improve my 800 time too, and also improve my mile. I'd like to run sub 4:40-ish for a mile sometime. So yes, I'm going to the University of Alabama to run track and cross country, and I'm super excited to join just such an amazing team of girls, and then the coaches are just so amazing. I'm just so excited to join such an elite program.
And that's going to wrap up this week's edition of the AHSAA Weekly. David Holtzfer, the Alabama High School Athletic Association, and the NFHS network partners from across the state of Alabama, providing some excellent footage once again here on the AHSAA Weekly. We'll see you back here next week with the next edition of the AHSAA Weekly, presented by America's First Federal Credit Union.